I am a tourist. I am an outsider by trade. My desire is what keeps me going. What I hate the most is staying still. It keeps me further away from everyone and everything. I have this urge to experience every building from within. I want to be the embodied body that embodies the space. I hate how I cannot embody ideas. Even if I say it over and over, I still cannot own them. All I can do is experience. But I wonder if I could find a way to own this. Is the experience not mine? I look towards the horizon, seeing the sun setting in all of its gorgeous orange and red glory. It exists because I say it exists. It belongs to me now. It exists in an infinite space of memory because of my proclamation of ownership, a claim to land over my own perception. Do I have a flag? I'm not a fan of nations. A crowded European city sang to me once, "Tourist, go home."
Do I have a flag? I'm not a fan of nations. Crowded European cities sang to me once, "Tourist, go home." I wish to become invisible. One should be careful with what one wishes, because it might become true. I lost my three-dimensionality. I lost my image. I was gone for years. When they couldn't see me, they would forget my name, my age, my eye color and height. I had a passport. My passport could travel, but I couldn't cross the border.
I got a new username, the floating signifier. I was the symbolic value 0. I was the one who facilitated your actions and made you into political species. You can still hold me responsible for your tiredness and for the apathy you feel. This is my revenge. Sensory overload is real. So what? So what if you cannot distinguish the green of the grass from the green of the astroturf? So what? So what if your days have no end and no beginning? So what? You don't need daylight to travel. Is an experience a virtue? Oh, how I wish there was someone to follow, someone to look up to. I never had an idol, but I always wished for one. Someone I could stalk or secretly walk after, who would guide me unknowingly. I could mirror their movements and gain some empathy points. This someone I could follow would be tricked into thinking that we are alike. That's the secret power of a good disguise. But I must also follow the customs. There are protocols, even in the virtual. I am being seen and therefore must not pretend I am not seen. I know that you think I know why you are watching. You don't. You know me, but you can't spot me in the crowd. I exist only to experience. Experience is my commodity. We are waiting for the sun to arrive, for the day when its rays will light our faces, for the day when we can test our hypotheses in bare sunlight. We are stuck in a green room. Every wall is green. Outside of the windows, it is green. Surrounded by green, we hesitate. Take a deep breath. A moment of stillness embraces us. We are waiting for the next image to arrive, waiting for the light that illuminates, waiting for synthesis. Time and speed do and do not want to keep up. They are subjective. Green is lively, calming, and contains everything you can imagine. But gray is also fine. It is non-binary. It is not like flesh, those colors of flesh that empties your reading of someone's oneself. Gray is fine. There's also hierarchies of gray, which should be mentioned. There is one which is perfectly half white and half black. They do not believe us when we say that gray is the waiting room of your video call. It is the background to infinite possibilities of communication. Are we searching for some sort of balance? Is that the aim of the game? A space between? That is, this is what will be? A middle ground? Back to normal, back to black, black to white. Embrace the spectrum. A prism of the invisible, the objectedness of everything and nothing, of absence and presence. We are moving through this to an outcome unknown, a medley of colors unseen. Yet, I still wish to speak of green as a background. You know, the background needed in order for things, ideas, and us to exist? Actually, I'm not sure that we truly know this background. We do know of the green screen. Well, we know what one can do with green, you know. Synonyms like replace, assemblage, collage. On green screen, one can project whatever one desires, whatever dream. Green is the new tabula rasa. But it is still a screen, a projection of your personal fragments. To stay presentable, stay visually sharp, or kitschy. We should all have a green screen in our bedrooms, composing ourselves, or protecting ourselves. To protect ourselves from the presence of yourself? You should get a green screen.
You should get a green screen, or make a green screen, or fuck a green screen. It is a portal which has no volume, no texture. It is a mirage in the light wave spectrum. It is as terrifying as the mirror. To participate or not to participate. There is no in between. There is no space. Only participation.
A, B, and C sit in a room. They are each seated 6 feet apart in uncomfortable white plastic chairs. The room reflects the sun from the window, casting rainbow prisms through the crystals that dangle from the ceiling. The smell in the room is sweet, bordering on sickly. A opens their eyes. Their eyelashes are caked with crust. They lift their finger.
A awaked with crust. They lift their fingers and wipe vigorously. A looks to the window, seeing a fig tree ripe with fruit. A remembers a moment when they walked under a fig tree, trying to avoid the rotten fruit that had fallen to the ground. A remembers the flesh and the seeds as they oozed through their toes. They had been too busy looking up. Why are we encouraged to keep our heads up when the real danger lies under our feet in the form of putrid, rotten fruit?
B feels anxious, thinks this is an experience one can only have on one's own. ponders that people are ultimately lonely and moments like these cannot be shared. B wishes that this whole thing would end sooner rather than later, but understands that changes will happen and this must be allowed to take its course. C is
C is just waiting for the whole situation to pass because C is not a fan of states of unfixedness. C would prefer surfaces to be solid and rocks to be heavy. C cannot escape the feeling that stability is relative. Even rocks are not what they seem. Everything is just atoms.
They all stop thinking for a minute, look at one another, then look at the room. It hasn't shifted a bit. They turn their gaze towards the window and doze off into the distance.